My wife was sleeping with her trainer in our bed while our kids were at school. I know because I installed cameras and I watched for 6 months before I said a word. I need you to understand something. I'm not the kind of man who does that. I'm not the kind of man who spies, who calculates, who builds cases in the dark. At least I wasn't. But on Tuesday, November 14th at 11:47 p.m., I became someone new. Because that's when I found the email. It wasn't meant for me. That's the thing that almost makes me laugh. Lauren had been so careful for so long. Different passwords, deleted messages, secret phone calls labeled "Mom" in her contacts. But she got sloppy. One forwarded email, one click, Derek Patterson's name at the top, and, below it, words that will never leave my head. Can't wait to have you all to myself this weekend. Tell James you're at the wellness retreat. I'll tell Patricia I'm at a coaching seminar. 48 hours, just us. You know what you do to me. Patricia. I didn't know who Patricia was yet. I would. But in that moment, sitting in our home office with the blue light of the laptop washing over my face, I only knew 3 things. My wife was having an affair with her personal trainer. She'd been lying about weekend trips for God knows how long. And somewhere inside me, deeper than the pain, deeper than the shock, something cold and methodical clicked into place. I didn't confront her that night, or the next, because I had a plan she'd never see coming. But I'm getting ahead of myself. You need to understand how we got here. You need to understand that this wasn't a marriage that died in one moment. It died in 1,000 small cuts over 3 years, each one so subtle, I almost didn't notice I was bleeding out. The mockery started small. Year 1 of what I now think of as the decline. We'd been married 5 years then. Tyler was 4. Lauren had just gone back to work part-time. Pharmaceutical sales, good money, flexible hours. She joined an expensive gym. I need this, she said. I need to feel like myself again. I supported her. Of course I did. I wanted her happy. Derek was her trainer. Young, confident, the kind of guy who called everyone champ and posted shirtless photos with motivational quotes. Lauren started talking about him constantly. Derek says I should try intermittent fasting. Derek thinks I have potential for a fitness competition. Derek says, I didn't think anything of it. Why would I? I was working 60-hour weeks as a software engineer, trying to make senior architect, trying to provide the life we'd dreamed about. I was boring, I knew that. I wore the same 3 dress shirts. I got excited about code optimization. I read to Tyler every night and fell asleep by 10 p.m. The first cut came at a family dinner. Lauren's parents, my parents, her sister. I was telling a story about work, something about debugging a legacy system, and I saw her face, that look, like she was embarrassed to be married to me. She cut me off mid-sentence. James, no one wants to hear about your computer stuff. The table went quiet. I laughed it off. Right. Sorry. Occupational hazard. Her mother touched my hand. I think it's interesting, dear. But Lauren had already moved on, talking about her training sessions, her body fat percentage dropping, how Derek said she had incredible core strength for a mom. The way she said mom made it sound like a disease she'd survived. By year 2, she'd stopped pretending to love me. The comments got sharper. Could you not wear that shirt? You look like someone's divorced dad. Tyler wants to learn to ride his bike, but you're always too busy. Derek runs marathons. When's the last time you ran anywhere? I tried. God, I tried. I joined her gym for 2 months. She wouldn't work out with me. I need this time for myself, she said. I signed up for a 5K. She didn't come watch. I suggested date nights. She was always tired. And then, the night I asked if she still loved me, she said it. The thing that would echo in my head for the next year and a half. Real men don't cry, James. I wasn't crying. My eyes were just wet. There's a difference. But to her, showing any emotion was weakness. Being stable was boring. Being dependable was pathetic. She wanted intensity, passion, drama. She wanted Derek. By year 3, she'd found him. Or maybe she'd had him all along, and I was just too stupid to see it. She'd come home from training sessions, showered and glowing. She'd spend hours on her phone, typing and smiling in ways she never smiled at me anymore. Our bedroom became a place we both slept but never touched. Her friends knew. I realized this later, but I should have seen it then. Kelly, Amanda, Brittany. They'd come over for wine nights and I'd hear them laughing in the kitchen. Once, I walked in to get water, and the conversation stopped like I'd interrupted something classified. Amanda gave me a pitying look. Lauren said, "We were just talking about training schedules." They were talking about me, about how pathetic I was, about how I'd never leave. Lauren said that once, on the phone when she thought I was outside. I was coming back in from taking out the trash. Our bedroom window was open, and I heard her voice drift out. "James, leave me? Please, Kelly, he doesn't have the spine. We don't leave. That's not who people like him are." I stood there on our driveway with an empty garbage bag in my hand, listening to my wife mock my loyalty like it was a character flaw. She was wrong about me. But she wouldn't know that for another 6 months. If you've ever felt invisible in your own home, if someone's ever made you feel like you weren't enough, just leave a comment. Say, "I understand, you're not alone," and neither was I. I bought the journal 3 days after I found the email. Black leather, nothing special. I found it at a bookstore near my office during lunch. The woman at the register asked if I wanted it gift wrapped. I almost laughed. "No," I said, "it's for me." That night after Lauren went to bed, 10:30 like clockwork, phone in hand, smiling at messages I'd never see, I sat in the home office and opened to the first page. My hand shook, not from sadness, from clarity. I wrote the date, November 17th, and then, in blue ink, I chose blue, deliberately. Black felt too final, blue felt like documentation. I wrote my first entry. Day 1. She thinks I'm weak. She's wrong. I'm patient. Connor called that night. My best friend from college. One of the few people who'd known me before I became Lauren's husband. We'd been trying to coordinate a basketball game for weeks, but I kept canceling. Work, life, exhaustion. "Man, you sound terrible," he said. "What's going on?" I almost told him. The words were right there. My wife is cheating on me. I found proof. I need help. But something stopped me. Maybe instinct, maybe strategy. Because the moment I told someone, it became real. The moment it became real, people would expect me to act, confront, rage, explode. I wasn't ready for that. "Just tired," I said. "Big project at work." "James," Connor's voice went serious. "You know you can talk to me, right, about anything." "I know, because if something was wrong, if Lauren was, I know things have been tense." "We're fine," I lied. "I'm fine." After we hung up, I made my second entry. Day 3. Connor suspects something. I can't tell him yet. If I tell him, he'll tell me to confront her, but I'm not ready. I need evidence. I need to know how deep this goes. I need to be sure that when I act, there's nothing left for her to hide behind. The journal became my voice when I had none. Every morning at 5 a.m. before Lauren woke up, I'd sit with my coffee. I can still smell it when I remember those mornings. Dark roast, slightly bitter, the only bitter thing I allowed myself, and I'd write. What she said, what she did, where she went. The pages warped slightly, where I pressed too hard with the pen. The leather got smooth from handling. 183 days, 183 entries. The journal never judged, it just held my truth. The call from Tyler's school came on a Wednesday, December 6th, day 19. I was in a meeting, phone on silent, but I saw Mrs. Rodriguez's name flash across the screen 3 times. Tyler's guidance counselor. My stomach dropped before I even knew why. I stepped out, called back. She answered immediately. "Mr. Thompson, I'm glad you called. I wanted to touch base about Tyler. Is he okay? Is he hurt?" No, nothing physical. But, James, can I speak candidly with you? I was standing in the hallway outside the conference room. Through the glass, I could see my team continuing without me. Someone presenting slides I'd prepared. Everything was normal. Everything was ending. Of course, Tyler's been acting out in class, not violently, just withdrawn. He's always been such an engaged student, but lately he won't participate. He sits in the back. Yesterday he asked if he could eat lunch in my office. Did something happen? Is someone bullying him? That's what I thought too. But when I asked him, he said no. He said, she paused. I could hear papers rustling. She was reading from notes. He said, I just don't want to talk about my family. The hallway tilted slightly. Mrs. Rodriguez, there's more. I asked him why. And James, I'm sorry, but I need to share this with you. He said, why doesn't my mom like my dad? I couldn't breathe. When I asked why he thought that, he said, and I'm quoting directly here, because she only smiles when he's not home. 7 years old. My son was 7 years old, and he could see what I'd been trying to pretend wasn't happening. Mr. Thompson, I'm here. I'm not trying to pry into your personal life, but as someone who cares about Tyler, I think he's picking up on tension at home. Kids are perceptive, sometimes more than we realize. I thanked her, told her I'd talk to Tyler, talk to Lauren, that we'd handle it. Professional voice, calm voice. The voice I used in meetings when everything was on fire, but I needed to sound like I had it under control. I sat in my car for 20 minutes before I could drive. That night I held Tyler while he cried. He wouldn't tell me why he was crying, just pressed his face into my shoulder and shook. I stroked his hair, said, it's okay. Daddy's got you. I've always got you. Lauren was at training. Specifically, she'd texted at 6:15 p.m. Running late. Derek's doing a late session. Don't wait up. After Tyler fell asleep, I went to the office and opened my journal. Day 19. Tyler asked his counselor why his mom doesn't like me. He's 7. She's destroying our son to feed her ego. This ends. I don't know how yet, but this ends. Below that, I taped the email Mrs. Rodriguez had sent me. Her typed notes, Times New Roman, 11-point font, clinical language. But in the middle, Tyler's words in quotation marks. Devastating in their simplicity. Why doesn't my mom like my dad? When asked to elaborate, Mom says Dad is boring. I don't think he's boring. He reads to me. I traced those words with my finger. He reads to me. Such a small thing. Such a small, perfect thing. And she'd weaponized it against me. I pulled the car over on my way home that night. I cried where my son couldn't see me. Real men do cry. I know that now. But back then, all I could hear was Lauren's voice. Real men don't cry, James. So I cried alone, in the dark, where no one would know I was weak. The security camera was Connor's idea, unintentionally. He came over one Saturday, early January, day 57, to help me install a Ring doorbell. His house had been broken into the month before, and he'd become evangelical about home security. Dude, you can see everything from your phone. Motion alerts, two-way talk. It's like having eyes everywhere. We installed it together, mounted it next to our front door, connected it to the Wi-Fi. Lauren didn't care. She was at the gym, naturally. So I set it up under my account, my phone, my email. I didn't install it to spy. I want you to believe that. I installed it because Connor said it was a good idea, and I was too numb to disagree. But then, 2 weeks later, Tuesday, February 6th, I got a motion alert on my phone, 2:47 p.m. I was in a meeting, glanced at the notification. Probably a delivery. I almost ignored it. Something made me click. The footage loaded, black and white, slightly fish-eyed from the wide lens. Our front door, our driveway, and Lauren's red BMW pulling in. Except it looked gray in the monochrome feed. She got out. Not alone. Derek Patterson stepped out of the passenger side, tall, athletic, wearing gym clothes. They walked to the door together. Close. Too close. She was laughing at something he'd said. He put his hand on her lower back. They kissed on our doorstep. Not a peck, not a friendly kiss. A kiss that said they'd done this before. Many times before. A kiss that said he belonged there. I watched her unlock the door, watched them go inside. The timestamp said 2:47 p.m. Tyler's school pickup was 3:15, 28 minutes. She had 28 minutes. The camera couldn't see inside, but I didn't need it to. I knew what was happening. In our bedroom, the bed where our daughter was conceived, the bed where I'd slept alone for months while she texted him from 3 feet away. On the pavement in front of them, I noticed this later when I watched the footage again. Mia's chalk drawings from the weekend. A rainbow, a flower, a stick figure family. Mommy, Daddy, Tyler, Mia. She kissed him right above our daughter's drawing. At 3:01 p.m., the door opened again. 14 minutes. Lauren came out first, alone, fixing her hair. Derek followed 30 seconds later, looking at his phone, casual. They didn't kiss goodbye. She was already in her car. He got into a silver Honda Accord parked down the street that I hadn't noticed in the first viewing. She picked up our kids at 3:15 p.m. and came home smiling. I watched the footage 3 times. Not because I'm a masochist, because I knew that when the time came, a judge would need to see it once. That night, day 69, somehow poetic, I added 3 letters to my journal entry. Exhibit C. I was building a case, evidence, documentation, the kind of case that doesn't have holes or gaps or moments where someone can say, "Are you sure?" or "Maybe you misunderstood." The camera had given me certainty, cold, irrefutable, time-stamped certainty. She brought him into our bedroom, the bed where our daughter was conceived. I lay next to Lauren that night. She rolled away from me without a word, phone glowing in her hand. I stayed on my side, staring at the ceiling, doing math in my head. 6 months. If I could stay quiet for 6 more months, if I could document everything, build the case, prepare, then I would make sure there was nothing left when I was done. I found Richard Harper through a colleague's divorce, not someone I knew well, just a guy from a different team who'd mentioned his lawyer was brutal, but fair. That's what I needed. Brutal. Fair. Someone who understood that I wasn't interested in drama. I was interested in winning. His office was in downtown, one of those old buildings with brass elevators and marble floors. Everything about Richard said expensive, from his gray suit to the fountain pen he used to take notes. But when I called, his assistant had squeezed me in same day. He had a cancellation, she said. I took it as a sign. Richard was maybe 60. Silver hair, sharp eyes behind frameless glasses. He shook my hand firmly and gestured to a leather chair across from his desk. "Mr. Thompson, you said on the phone this was urgent." I placed my journal on his desk. 112 days of entries by then. March 8th, day 112. My wife is having an affair with her personal trainer. I have documentation, video evidence, financial records, witness testimony from my son's school counselor. I need to know what I'm working with. Richard opened the journal, started reading. His expression didn't change. Lawyers are good at that. But I saw his eyebrows rise slightly when he got to the security footage timestamps. He looked up. "You've been documenting for almost 4 months." "Yes." "Most men would have confronted immediately." "I'm not most men." He smiled. Actually smiled. "No, I can see that." He closed the journal carefully, like it was evidence in a trial, which, I suppose, it was. "Do you have a prenuptial agreement?" "Yes. Signed 8 years ago. I haven't looked at it since." "Do you know what's in it?" "Vaguely. Standard stuff, I thought. We came into the marriage with roughly equal assets, so it didn't seem important." Richard leaned back in his chair.
Mr. Thompson, James, may I be candid with you? Please. Prenuptial agreements are like insurance policies. Most people sign them and never think about them again, until they need them. And then everything depends on what's actually written in the fine print. He steepled his fingers. Do you have a copy I can review? I can get one. That night, while Lauren was at another late training session, I found our safe. The prenup was inside, underneath our passports and birth certificates. 26 pages. Lauren's signature on page 23, looped and confident. My signature next to it, neater, smaller. We'd signed it at her parents' lawyer's office, a week before the wedding. I'd been nervous. She'd been breezy. It's just a formality, babe. We're never getting divorced anyway. I took photos of every page with my phone and emailed them to Richard. His response came at 11:47 p.m. Just one line. Call me first thing tomorrow. I didn't sleep that night. James, this prenup is a nuclear weapon. We were in his office again. Januar went a.m. He'd printed the entire document, highlighted in yellow across 3 pages. Pages 7, 12, and 18. I don't understand. Your wife's parents had this drafted by one of the best family law firms in the state. I'm guessing they insisted on it. Her father did. He's a traditional, protective of family money. Smart man, because what he built into this document is a tiered penalty system for infidelity. It's not common, but it's legal and it's devastating. Richard slid the pages across to me. Page 7. Read the highlighted section. I read. In the event that either party engages in an extramarital affair, as defined by physical intimacy with a third party, the non-offending party shall retain 100% equity in the primary marital residence, regardless of contribution or title status. We own our house jointly, I said slowly. Current value is about $740,000. We've paid down maybe half the mortgage. Congratulations. In the event of divorce, due to her adultery, that's your house. She gets nothing. My hands were shaking. What's on page 12? That's the emotional abuse clause. If you can demonstrate a pattern of emotional or psychological harm, especially as it relates to children, she forfeits all rights to spousal support. Forever, Tyler's counselor notes. The journal entries documenting 3 years of mockery. I had that. Page 18. Richard's face was grim. That's the escalating financial penalty clause. It's tied to duration of the affair. If the affair lasted less than 6 months, $50,000 penalty. 6 to 12 months, $150,000. More than 12 months. He paused. More than 12 months. The penalty is $450,000. Payable within 90 days of divorce finalization. The room felt smaller. Richard, I don't have proof of when the affair started. I've only been documenting since November. But you have evidence suggesting it predated your documentation, correct? The email mentioned this weekend, implying a pattern. Your journal references changes in her behavior going back years. And most importantly, he tapped the financial records I'd brought. You have her spending patterns. If we can establish she's been funneling marital funds to her affair partner for an extended period, that's circumstantial evidence of duration. How do we establish that? Forensic audit. I have someone. She's expensive, but she's thorough. I thought about my savings account, the one Lauren didn't know about. The one I'd been contributing to for 5 years just in case. Emergency fund. Turned out this was the emergency. Do it. Richard looked at me, really looked at me, for a long moment. James, I have to ask, why are you waiting? With this prenup, you could file tomorrow and destroy her. Why the delay? I met his eyes. Because I want to make sure there's nothing left when I'm done. Richard leaned forward. Most of my clients come in here angry, crying, begging me to make it quick, make it hurt. You're different. You're not angry. Oh, I'm angry. I'm just patient. He smiled again. That same slight smile from yesterday. Then let's be patient together. But James, his voice turned serious. 6 months is a long time to live with someone who's betraying you. Can you do that? Can you sleep next to her, eat meals with her, raise your kids with her, knowing what you know? I thought about Tyler asking why his mom didn't like his dad. I thought about Mia's chalk drawing on the driveway. I thought about that kiss on our doorstep, casual and familiar, like Derek belonged there. I can do whatever it takes. The forensic accountant's name was Margaret Chen. She worked out of a small office that smelled like coffee and printer ink. Richard said she'd helped him win a dozen high-asset divorces. If money moved, Margaret finds it. I gave her everything. Credit card statements going back 4 years, bank records, PayPal, Venmo. Every shared account Lauren and I had. It took her 3 weeks. The report landed in my email on March 29th, day 133. Subject line, Thompson Financial Analysis, confidential. I was at work. Closed my office door. Opened the PDF, 47 pages. Executive summary on page 2. Total marital funds spent on GCHA transferred to suspected affair partner or affair-related expenses. 27,438.62. Timeline of expenditures, September 2021. Present, 18 months. Notable patterns. Monthly payments averaging $4,500 to Derek Patterson, Personal Training, LLC, beginning September 2021. Gym membership cost, during same period, 89-month. Discrepancy, 4,411-month unaccounted for. I scrolled down. Hotel charges, 23 separate occasions. Riverside Inn appeared 7 times. Grand Plaza 4 times. Seaside Resort 3 times. Each charge between $250 to $450. All on Saturdays or Sundays when she'd claimed to be at wellness retreats or training workshops, gift purchases from jewelry stores. $200 at Whitmore & Sons for a men's Rolex. Purchase date, April 14th. Derek's birthday, I learned later. Dinner charges at expensive restaurants I'd never been to. Always 2 entrees. Always wine. Always on nights. She said she was working late or out with the girls. Margaret had highlighted one transaction in red. A note in the margin in her handwriting. This seems significant. Chow $200 to a weekend rental property in the mountains. Valentine's Day weekend. The weekend she'd told me she was going to visit her college roommate in Portland. I'd stayed home with the kids. We'd made heart-shaped pizzas. Mia had gotten sauce all over her face. Tyler had made me a card that said, "You're the best dad." I'd sent Lauren a photo of the 3 of us. She'd replied, "Aw, cute. Miss you guys." She'd been in a mountain cabin with Derek Patterson. The number stared at me from the screen. $27,138.62. $27,000. Money we could have used for Tyler's education fund, for family vacations, for Mia's preschool. She'd stolen it to buy her affair partner a Rolex and book hotel rooms and pretend she was someone else. $4,500 a month for personal training. The gym membership cost $89. I forwarded the report to Richard, printed 2 copies, one for my records, one for the journal. Went to the bathroom and splashed cold water on my face. When I looked in the mirror, I almost didn't recognize myself. I'd lost weight. There were shadows under my eyes, but there was something else too, something harder, something that knew exactly what it was doing. I dried my hands and went back to work. That night, day 133, I made my journal entry in red ink instead of blue. 27,138.62. She didn't just betray me. She robbed us, robbed our kids, and she bought him a Rolex, with our joint account, for his birthday. The receipt said, "To my real man." Below that, I wrote in all caps, 18 months, page 18, applies, $450,000. She'd just cost herself $450,000. Lauren wanted to try couples therapy. I'll give you a moment to appreciate the irony. It was mid-April, day 148. We were eating dinner, me, her, the kids. Tyler was quiet, pushing pasta around his plate. Mia was chattering about her preschool field trip to the zoo. Lauren was scrolling through her phone, half listening. "James, I was thinking," she said suddenly. "Maybe we should talk to someone." I looked up. Someone. A therapist. Marriage counselor. I just feel like we're... She waved her hand vaguely. Disconnected. Tyler's fork stopped moving. "You think we need therapy?" I said carefully. "It couldn't hurt, right?" Kelly and Brad went to this amazing therapist, Dr. Klein, and she really helped them communicate better. Kelly, one of the friends who knew about Derek, who'd been party to the text thread I didn't know about yet. But in that moment, looking at Lauren's face, earnest, concerned, playing the role of worried wife, I saw an opportunity. "Okay," I said. "Let's try it." Her eyebrows shot up. She'd expected resistance. "Really? Really? If you think it'll help, let's do it." That night I called Richard. "She wants couples therapy." "Do not do couples therapy. Hear me out. What if I record the sessions?" Silence on the line. Then, "Is that legal in your state?" "If I'm a party to the conversation, yes. Single-party consent." "James." "Richard, what if she admits to the affair on tape? What if she says something that proves duration, proves her state of mind, proves she's been lying?" More silence. I could practically hear him thinking. "You'd need to be recording yourself, not her specifically. For your own records, therapeutic documentation." "Of course." "And you'd need to be very, very careful about how you elicit information." "I'm patient. Remember," he sighed. "You're either brilliant or insane. Can't I be both?" We saw Dr. Sarah Klein 3 times. Her office was in a converted Victorian house, all soft lighting and comfortable chairs and abstract art that probably cost more than my car. She was 50-ish, kind eyes, the sort of voice that made you want to confess things. The first session was feeling each other out. Dr. Klein asked about our history, how we met, what our relationship was like early on. Lauren smiled and held my hand and lied beautifully about how much she cherished our foundation. I had my phone in my jacket pocket, voice memo app running. It was legal. I'd checked, rechecked, had Richard check. The second session, Dr. Klein asked about current challenges. "I think James is depressed," Lauren said, not unkindly, almost concerned. "He's withdrawn. He doesn't engage with me or the kids the way he used to." I wanted to laugh. I wanted to scream. I stayed quiet. "James?" Dr. Klein turned to me. "How would you respond to that?" "I think I've been working a lot. Probably too much. I'm trying to provide stability." "Stability from what?" Dr. Klein asked. I looked at Lauren. "From whatever's been causing the tension in our home." Lauren shifted. "There's no tension. I just think we've grown apart." "Why do you think that is?" Dr. Klein's voice was gentle. "I don't know. Life, kids, work. We're roommates more than partners. And how does that make you feel?" "Lonely," Lauren said. "And here's the thing. I think she meant it. I think she actually felt lonely, even while she was sleeping with Derek 3 times a week. I think she'd convinced herself she was the victim in our story." Dr. Klein turned to me. "James, I feel lonely too." We scheduled a 3rd session. I almost canceled it. I had enough. Lauren's admission that we were roommates was damning enough, but something made me keep the appointment. Intuition, luck, fate. The 3rd session was May 2nd, day 165. Dr. Klein opened with a harder question. "Have either of you considered that this marriage might not be working? That separation might be healthier?" Lauren answered immediately. "No. I mean, I've thought about it. But we have kids, and James is a good father. I wouldn't want to hurt him." My jaw actually clenched. Dr. Klein noticed. "James, you're having a reaction to that. I just think it's interesting that Lauren's primary concern about leaving is not wanting to hurt me. Not that she loves me, not that she values our partnership. Just that I'm a good father, and she doesn't want to hurt me." Lauren blinked. That's not what I meant. What did you mean? She faltered. I care about you, obviously. Do you? The words came out harder than I'd intended. Dr. Klein raised a hand. Let's take a breath. Lauren, I'm curious about your language. You said you've thought about separation. Can you say more about that? And here's where it happened, where Lauren, feeling safe in the confidential space of therapy, feeling justified in her narrative, made a mistake. I've thought about what it would be like to be with someone who actually sees me, who thinks I'm interesting, who doesn't just want me to be the perfect mom and wife, but who wants me as a person. She was crying now, real tears. I have needs, you know. I have desires, and James, he's good. He's stable. He's boring. Dr. Klein leaned forward slightly. Have you acted on those thoughts? Have you sought attention or connection outside your marriage? Silence. Lauren looked at her hands. Lauren. Dr. Klein's voice was still gentle, non-judgmental. The perfect therapist voice. Yes, barely a whisper. Can you tell me about that? There's someone at my gym. We've been close. How close? Lauren looked up, met Dr. Klein's eyes, and then incredibly, she laughed. Not a nervous laugh. The kind of laugh you make when you're relieved to finally tell the truth. We're having an affair for over a year, and honestly, it's the only thing that's kept me sane. Dr. Klein's expression didn't change, but I saw her fingers tighten around her pen. And James, do you know about this? Lauren looked at me. I kept my face neutral, curious, hurt, but not devastated. The performance of my life. James, she said, did you know? I let the silence stretch. Let her wonder. Then quietly, I suspected. She actually looked relieved. I'm sorry, I'm so sorry, but I needed this. I needed to feel alive. Dr. Klein asked, do you feel guilty? And Lauren, God help me. Lauren laughed again. Guilty? No. Trapped maybe. Guilty? I've spent 8 years being the perfect wife, the perfect mother. I'm entitled to something for myself. The phone in my pocket recorded every word. That night, day 165, I didn't write in my journal immediately. I sat in my car in a grocery store parking lot and listened to the recording 3 times. Lauren's voice. James, leave me. Please, he doesn't have the spine. No, wait. That was from later. That was from the text thread. But it sounded the same dismissive tone, the same certainty that I was too weak to do anything about it. Dr. Klein's voice. Do you feel guilty? Lauren's laugh. Guilty? I've spent 8 years being the perfect wife, the perfect mother. I'm entitled to something for myself. I emailed the audio file to Richard. Subject line. Exhibit G. His response came at 11:32 p.m. James, this is gold, but are you okay? I thought about that. Was I okay? I'd just listened to my wife admit to an affair, laugh about it, justify it, minimize it. I'd sat there and pretended to be shocked while secretly recording her confession. I typed back, I'm perfect. See you next week. Connor came over that Saturday, May 6th, day 169. He brought beer and insisted we watch the game. I think he suspected something was wrong. He'd always been able to read me. We sat in the garage. Lauren was at training, of course, with the door open, spring air drifting in, and Connor asked the question I'd been dreading. Man, what's going on with you? What do you mean? Don't do that. Don't bullshit me. You look terrible. You've lost weight. You barely answer my texts. And when I called last week, you sounded like a robot. He took a long drink. Is it work? Work's fine. Is it Lauren? I could have lied. Should have lied. But Connor was my oldest friend, and I was so tired of carrying this alone. Yeah, I fucking knew it. What's she doing? The words came out flat, practiced. She's having an affair with her personal trainer. Has been for at least 18 months. I have documentation. Connor stared at me. You're serious. Yes. And you're just, what? Documenting. Yes. James. He put his beer down. Why haven't you confronted her? Why haven't you thrown her out? Why are you sitting here like this is some kind of science experiment? I met his eyes. Because I'm building a case. And when I'm done, there won't be anything left for her to hide behind. A case? Jesus Christ, you sound like a lawyer. I have a lawyer. Connor ran his hand through his hair. How long have you known? Since November. November? Dude, that's 6 months. You've been living with this for 6 months. It'll be 6 months when I file, mid-May. Connor looked at me like I was someone he'd never met. You're gonna snap, man. You can't keep this inside. You're gonna lose it. I smiled. Actually smiled. And I saw Connor flinch. No, I said quietly. I'm gonna win. What would you do? If you found out your spouse was betraying you, would you confront immediately, blow everything up, let the anger out? Or would you do what I did? Calculate, document, build an airtight case before making a move. Leave a comment. Confront if you'd have exploded right away. Calculate if you'd have done what I did. Played the long game. I'm curious where you land, because Connor thought I was crazy. Maybe I was, but maybe I was just finally learning to play chess instead of checkers. I found the text messages by accident. Late May, day 183, Lauren had asked me to check her phone for a message from the preschool. Hers was charging in the bedroom. Mine was in my hand. The parent portal sent something about Mia's art show. Can you just check for me? I unlocked her phone. I knew the passcode, her birthday, then Tyler's birth year. She'd never changed it because she'd never thought I'd look. The message from the preschool was there. But above it, I saw a group chat notification. 3 names. Kelly, Amanda, Brittany. The preview text said, "He's so pathetic he'll never..." My thumb hovered over it. This was a line. I'd documented evidence of her affair. I'd recorded therapy sessions where I was a participant. But reading her private messages with friends, that was different. Except it wasn't. Because if they were talking about me, if they were part of the conspiracy of mockery, then they were witnesses, evidence. I tapped the thread. 98 messages. Going back 4 months. I scrolled to the beginning. Lauren. Girls' night soon? I'm losing my mind. Kelly. What's wrong? Lauren. James is just so boring. Like, we had sex last night and I literally thought about my grocery list the entire time. Amanda. OMG, stop. Lauren. I'm serious. I don't know how much longer I can do this. Brittany. So leave him. Lauren. And go where? I'd have to get a real job. Split custody. Deal with his sad puppy eyes. It's easier to just stay and have my fun on the side. Kelly. You're terrible. Lauren. Derek made me feel alive today. Like, actually alive. When's the last time James made me feel anything? I kept scrolling. My hands were steady. That surprised me. Amanda. Does James suspect anything? Lauren. James. Suspect? Please. He's so checked out he barely notices I exist. Brittany. What if he finds out? Lauren. He won't. And even if he did, he'd never leave. We don't leave. That's not who people like James are. They stay and take it because they're too scared to be alone. Kelly. You don't think he'd divorce you? Lauren. With what spine? The man cried when I told him his shirt was ugly. He's pathetic. I could cheat in front of him, and he'd probably apologize for not being good enough. The messages went on. Details about Derek, complaints about me, photos of gifts Derek had given her, screenshots of their text conversations, where she called him baby, and he called her his goddess. One message from Kelly. Doesn't James work in tech? What if he finds these messages? Lauren's response. He's not smart like that. He writes code. He doesn't think like that. I screenshot every message. 98 messages became 98 images in my hidden photo folder. Then I cleared my recently opened apps and put her phone back on the charger. All set? Lauren called from the living room. What did it say? Art show is Thursday at 6 p.m. Great. Thanks, babe. Babe. She called me babe. Like nothing was wrong. Like she hadn't just been telling her friends I was pathetic. That she could cheat in front of me, and I'd apologize. That night, day 183, I made an entry in my journal, but I didn't need many words. She was wrong about me. 3 more weeks. I taped one of the screenshots inside the back cover, the one where she said I was too pathetic to ever leave. They would all regret typing those words. Every single one of them. I found Patricia Patterson on Facebook. It was late. June 1st, day 195. Lauren was asleep. She always fell asleep by 10:30 now, phone in hand, smiling at messages from Derek. I was in the office, ostensibly working on a project proposal. Really, I was hunting. I typed Derek Patterson into the search bar. His profile was public. Gym photos, motivational quotes, living my best life captions, performative authenticity from a man who was sleeping with married clients. I scrolled through his photos. Most were solo shots. Him flexing, him at the beach, him at some fitness expo. But there were others. Older ones, from before he'd apparently decided to clean up his digital footprint for his affair. And there she was, a photo from 2 years ago. Derek in a suit. I didn't know he owned a suit. Standing next to a blonde woman in a blue dress, his arm around her waist, her hand on his chest, both of them smiling at the camera. Caption: Anniversary dinner with my amazing wife. Lucky man. Dritz blessed. The woman's Facebook was tagged, Patricia Patterson. I clicked through. Her profile was private, but her cover photo was public. A family photo. Derek, Patricia, 2 kids. A girl maybe 9 years old, dark hair like Derek's. A boy maybe 6, blonde like Patricia. All 4 of them on a beach somewhere, golden hour lighting, professional photography. The kind of photo you order prints of and frame. Uploaded 8 months ago. Derek Patterson was married, with children. He wasn't a single personal trainer, having an affair with a client. He was a married father of 2, lying to his wife while he destroyed my marriage. And Lauren knew. She had to know. The email had mentioned Patricia by name. I'll tell Patricia I'm at a coaching seminar. They were both betraying spouses, both lying to their children, both so convinced they deserved this, whatever this was, that they'd blown up 2 families to get it. I sat back in my chair, stared at Patricia's family photo. She looked happy. Genuinely happy. The kind of happy I used to be before I knew what I knew. My phone was in my hand before I'd consciously decided. I created a fake Facebook account, basic profile, stock photo, generic name. Added a few random people to make it look real. Then I scrolled through Patricia's friends list until I found her sister, Christine Patterson, similar features, public profile that mentioned Patricia constantly. I sent Christine a message. I know this is going to sound insane, but I think your sister's husband is having an affair with my wife. I have proof. Can we talk? I hit send before I could second guess it. The response came 30 minutes later. Who is this? I told her. Not everything, just enough. My name. That Derek was my wife's trainer. That I'd discovered the affair. That I had evidence. Patricia deserves to know, I typed, and I think she'll want to know before I file. 3 dots. Appearing, disappearing, appearing again. Give me a day. I'll talk to her. Patricia called me the next day. Saturday, June the 2nd, day 196. I was in my car, running errands Lauren had asked me to do. Target for Mia's birthday supplies. She was turning 5 next week. I'd just loaded shopping bags into the trunk when my phone rang. Unknown number. Hello. Is this James? A woman's voice. Controlled, but I could hear the tremor underneath. Yes. This is Patricia Patterson. Christine said you contacted her. About Derek. I leaned against my car. I did. Is it true? Is he sleeping with your wife? There was no good way to answer that question. No way to soften it. Yes, I have evidence going back at least 18 months, probably longer. Silence. I heard her breathing. I suspected, she said finally. For months, he's been distant, late nights, sudden work trips. But he swore. He swore he'd never. Her voice broke. I'm sorry. Why are you calling me? Why now? Because I'm filing for divorce in 2 weeks. And when I do, Lauren's name is going to be in legal documents. It'll become public record eventually. I thought you deserved to know before that happened. To make your own choices. How long have you known? 6 months. 6 months. She sounded shocked. And you're just now. I've been building a case. I have a prenup with infidelity clauses. I needed time to document everything. A prenup. She laughed, but there was no humor in it. We don't have a prenup. Derek and I got married young. We were broke. We didn't think we'd ever have anything worth protecting. I'm sorry, I said again. Stop apologizing. You're not the one who did this. She took a shaky breath. Can we meet? I want to see the evidence. I need to be sure. We met the next day, Sunday morning. A coffee shop halfway between our houses, neutral ground. I got there early, sat in the back corner with my laptop and a folder of printed documents. Patricia walked in at exactly 10 a.m. I recognized her from the photos, blonde hair pulled back, minimal makeup, tired eyes. She wore jeans and a sweater despite the June heat, like she was trying to make herself smaller. We shook hands. Hers was cold. I ordered her a coffee. She wrapped both hands around the cup but didn't drink. Show me, she said. I opened my laptop, showed her the email Lauren had forwarded, the one that had started everything. Patricia read it twice. Her face didn't change, but her knuckles went white around the coffee cup. That's Derek's writing style, the way he uses words. You know what you do to me. That's him. I'm sorry. Stop saying that. But her voice wasn't angry, just broken. I showed her the financial records, the hotel charges, the jewelry purchase, the mountain cabin rental on Valentine's Day. We were home that weekend, Patricia whispered. The kids had the flu. Derek said he had to work a certification workshop. I was up all night with Emma, our daughter, and she stopped. He was with your wife. I showed her the security footage, not all of it. Just the timestamp, the image of Lauren and Derek at my door. Their kiss. Patricia turned her face away. I don't need to see more. I closed the laptop. We sat in silence. Around us, the coffee shop was full of Sunday morning normalcy. Couples sharing pastries, students studying, people living their oblivious lives while 2 strangers sat in the corner having their worlds confirmed as ash. What are you going to do? I asked. She looked at me. Really looked at me. And I saw in her eyes the same thing I'd seen in my own mirror for 6 months. Someone who'd been broken and had decided to become something harder. When are you filing? June 15th, Wednesday, 2 weeks from now. I'll file the same day. Her voice was steady now. I have a lawyer. He's been on retainer since April when I first suspected. I can have papers drawn up by then. You've been planning this, too. Not planning, preparing. There's a difference. She twisted her wedding ring. White gold, small diamond, modest and genuine. James, can I ask you something? Of course. Why didn't you confront him? Derek, you have his contact information. You could have called him, threatened him, made his life hell. I thought about that. Because this isn't about Derek. Not really. He's just the tool Lauren used. If it wasn't him, it would have been someone else. The problem isn't him, it's her. The problem is both of them. Patricia's jaw set. But I understand what you mean. Lauren is your problem. Derek is mine. So, we each handle our own. Yes, she met my eyes. But we do it together. Same day, synchronized. So neither of them has time to warn the other, so they both fall at once. I felt something I hadn't felt in 6 months. Not quite hope, but close. Alliance, partnership. When I file, Patricia continued, I'm also reporting Derek to his employer. Fraternization with clients violates his contract. He'll lose his job. Good! And I'm contacting his coaching certification board. Relationships with clients violate their ethics code. He'll lose his credentials. Also good. She finally took a sip of her coffee. Your wife thinks you're weak, doesn't she? Thinks you'll never fight back. How did you? Because that's what Derek thinks about me. I heard him on the phone once talking to someone. He said I was sweet but spineless. That I'd never leave because I needed him too much. She smiled, and it was the saddest smile I'd ever seen. He was wrong. So was Lauren. We exchanged information. Lawyers' names, email addresses, phone numbers, agreed to stay in contact, agreed to file simultaneously. 9 a.m., June 15th. Both lawyers serving papers at the same moment. Before she left, Patricia put her hand on my arm. James, when you file, I file. Same day, let's bury them together. I nodded. Together. She walked out. I stayed in the coffee shop for another hour, staring at my laptop screen. At the calendar alert I'd set months ago, June 15th, 9 a.m. File for divorce. 2 weeks, 14 days, 336 hours. I'd waited 6 months. I could wait. 2 more weeks. That night, day 197, I made my final pre-filing journal entry. Met Patricia Patterson today, Derek's wife. She's filing the same day I am. They'll both fall together. Lauren thinks I'm too weak to fight back. She's about to learn she was wrong about me. She was wrong about everything. I closed the journal, put it in my desk drawer. When I filed, it would be Exhibit A, the foundation of everything. 197 days of documentation, of patience, of calculated, cold-blooded strategy. Lauren thought I was boring, thought I was weak, thought I was too scared to be alone. 2 weeks, then she'd see who I really was. Then she'd read page 7, June 15th, Wednesday, day 211. I woke up at 5 a.m. like I had every morning for 7 months, made coffee, sat in the office with my journal one last time, didn't write anything new, just reread the first entry. Day 1, she thinks I'm weak. She's wrong. I'm patient. Patient. For 211 days I'd been patient. Today, patience ended. Richard had the papers ready. 453 pages. Petition for dissolution of marriage, evidence exhibits A through M, financial statements, security footage stills, therapy session transcripts, text message compilations, Tyler's counselor notes, Margaret's forensic audit, the prenup, highlighted in yellow on pages 7, 12, and 18, and my journal, 197 entries, the foundation of everything. Lauren woke up at 7:30. Normal Wednesday. She had a training session at 9. Derek, naturally. She showered, put on her expensive athleisure wear, the kind that costs $200 for leggings and a sports bra. I'd paid for it, I realized, with money she'd later steal to buy her lover gifts. You're up early, she said, grabbing her protein shake from the fridge. Couldn't sleep. You should see someone about that. Insomnia isn't normal. She kissed me on the cheek. Perfunctory, automatic, the kind of kiss you give a roommate. I'll be back around noon. Can you pick up Mia from preschool? Sure, she left. I watched her back out of the driveway, phone already in her hand, probably texting Derek. On my way, can't wait to see you. At 8:45 a.m. I received a text from Richard. Papers are with the process server, T-minus 15 minutes. At 8:47 a.m., Patricia texted, My lawyer is ready. Are you? I typed back, yes. At exactly 9 a.m., Lauren Bradley Thompson was served divorce papers at Gold's Elite Fitness in the lobby, in front of 3 colleagues and approximately 15 gym members. I know this because the process server called Richard. Richard called me. "It's done. She's been served." I was sitting in my car in the work parking lot. I'd called in sick. First sick day in 4 years. How did she react? According to the server, she went pale, started calling someone repeatedly. Then her boss asked her to step into his office. Her boss. "James, you included evidence of her affair with a gym client in the filing. That violates her company's ethics policy for pharmaceutical sales reps. I'm guessing her company got a courtesy call from our office this morning. I hadn't known that would happen, but I wasn't sorry. My phone started ringing. Lauren." I declined the call. She called again, declined, again, declined. By 9:30 a.m., she'd called 47 times. At 9:45 a.m., I answered. "James!" Her voice was frantic, desperate. "James, what is this? What are you can't, we need to talk. Read page 7, I said. "What?" "The prenup, page 7, read it." I hung up. She called back immediately. I turned my phone off. At 10:15 a.m., Patricia texted, "Derek has been served. At the gym, in front of everyone. His face. God, James, I wish you could have seen his face." At 11:08 a.m., Richard called. "Lauren's lawyer just contacted me. They want an emergency meeting. Today, if possible." "No. James, I've been patient for 7 months. They can be patient for a week. Schedule mediation for next Wednesday, not a day sooner." "You're sure?" "I'm sure." That afternoon, Lauren came home. I was there with the kids. I'd picked up Mia from preschool as promised, and Tyler from his after-school program. We were making snacks in the kitchen, graham crackers with peanut butter, Tyler's favorite. Lauren walked in, and the kids ran to her. They didn't know. God, they didn't know anything yet. "Hi, babies," she said, hugging them both. But her eyes were on me. Red-rimmed, mascara smudged. She'd been crying. "James, can we talk? Tyler, Mia, go watch TV in the playroom for a bit, okay?" They ran off, happy, oblivious. Their world hadn't ended yet. Lauren and I stood in the kitchen, 10 feet apart. The distance felt infinite. "You've been planning this!" Her voice shook. "The therapy, the questions, you've been documenting." "Yes. For how long?" "Since November. Since I found the email you forwarded to me by accident." Her face crumpled. "James, I can explain." "Don't." "We can fix this. We can go back to therapy. I'll end things with Derek. Lauren." I kept my voice even, calm. "Read the prenup. All of it. Have your lawyer explain what the highlighted sections mean. Then we'll talk. But not before. I don't understand why you're doing this. We have kids. We have a life." "We had a life. You ended it when you brought Derek Patterson into our bedroom while our children's chalk drawings were still on the driveway." She went white. "How did you—" "Security camera. You kissed him right above Mia's rainbow. Did you know that? Did you notice? James, I want you to stay somewhere else tonight. Your parents' house, Kelly's. I don't care, but you're not sleeping here. You can't kick me out of my own house. Read. Page 7. I walked out of the kitchen, went to the playroom where Tyler and Mia were watching cartoons, sat down between them. Tyler leaned against my shoulder. Mia climbed into my lap. Behind me, I heard Lauren crying. Heard her on the phone, heard her leaving. The front door closed. Tyler looked up at me. "Is Mommy okay?" I kissed the top of his head. "Mommy's going to stay with Grandma for a bit. But you guys are okay, I promise." That night, for the first time in 7 months, I slept soundly. The mediation was scheduled for Wednesday, June 21st, 1 week after filing. Richard's office, conference room with a long mahogany table and leather chairs. Neutral ground. Lauren arrived with her attorney. Marcus Webb, expensive suit, slicked back hair, the kind of lawyer who usually wins. But today he looked uncomfortable. Lauren looked worse. She'd lost weight. Her clothes hung differently. Her hair was pulled back in a messy ponytail. No makeup. This wasn't the polished woman who'd mocked me for 3 years. This was someone who'd just realized she'd miscalculated catastrophically. The mediator was Judge Margaret Thornton, retired family court judge. Silver hair, sharp eyes, no-nonsense demeanor. She'd seen everything. Nothing surprised her anymore. "Let's begin," Judge Thornton said. "Mr. Harper, you filed on behalf of your client, James Thompson, citing adultery and a prenuptial agreement with specific clauses. Mrs. Thompson's counsel has requested this mediation to discuss terms. Mr. Harper, would you like to present your case?" Richard opened his laptop, connected it to the screen at the head of the table. "Your Honor, we have substantial evidence of Mrs. Thompson's ongoing extramarital affair spanning at least 18 months. We also have documentation of emotional abuse toward Mr. Thompson and their children. The prenuptial agreement signed by both parties 8 years ago contains specific provisions that apply in cases of adultery. I'd like to walk through those provisions now." He pulled up page 7 of the prenup, projected it on the screen. Lauren's signature at the bottom. Clear, confident, legally binding. Page 7, section 4.2, Richard read. His voice was measured, clinical, each word a nail in a coffin. "In the event that either party engages in an extramarital affair, as defined by physical intimacy with a third party, the non-offending party shall retain 100% equity in the primary marital residence, regardless of contribution or title status." He looked at Marcus. "The marital home is currently valued at $740,000. Remaining mortgage is approximately $380,000. Net equity, $360,000. Per the prenup, that equity belongs entirely to Mr. Thompson." Marcus shifted in his seat. "Your Honor, we'd like to argue that this clause is overly punitive and potentially unenforceable." "Do you have precedent suggesting it's unenforceable in this state?" Richard asked. "We're researching, because I have 6 cases where identical language was upheld. Would you like the citations?" Judge Thornton raised a hand. "Let's continue with the presentation. Mr. Webb, you'll have time to respond." Richard pulled up page 12. Page 12, section 7.1. "In the event that either party demonstrates a pattern of emotional or psychological abuse, as evidenced by third-party professional documentation," said, "party shall forfeit all rights to spousal support from the non-offending party." He pulled up Tyler's counselor notes. The report from Mrs. Ellen Rodriguez. Tyler's quote, enlarged on the screen. "Why doesn't my mom like my dad?" Lauren put her face in her hands. "We have documentation from a licensed school counselor detailing the emotional distress Mr. Thompson's 7-year-old son experienced as a result of observing his mother's treatment of his father. We also have," he pulled up another document, "transcripts from couples therapy sessions where Mrs. Thompson admitted to the affair and, quote, laughed when asked if she felt guilty." Judge Thornton's expression didn't change, but I saw her pen pause on her notepad. "Per this clause," Richard continued, "Mrs. Thompson is not entitled to any spousal support. Not temporary, not permanent, none." Marcus was sweating now, literally sweating. "Your Honor, my client was not adequately informed of these clauses when she signed. Was she represented by counsel when she signed?" Judge Thornton asked. "Her parents' attorney was present." "So yes, she was represented. Continue, Mr. Harper." Richard looked at Lauren. His face wasn't cruel, just factual. This was business. Page 18, section 9.3. "In the event that an extramarital affair is proven to have lasted longer than 12 consecutive months, the offending party shall pay a penalty of $450,000 to the non-offending party, said sum to be paid within 90 days of final divorce decree." He pulled up Margaret's forensic audit, the spending timeline, September 2021 through June 2024. Mrs. Thompson's affair with Derek Patterson has been ongoing for at least 18 months, as evidenced by financial records showing payments to Mr. Patterson's business, hotel charges, gift purchases, and other affair-related expenses, totaling $27,438.62 of marital funds. The number appeared on the screen. Red text, undeniable. $27,438.62, Richard repeated. Stolen from the marital estate to fund an affair, which means Mrs. Thompson not only violated the fidelity clause, she also committed financial infidelity. The prenup's penalty for affairs exceeding 12 months is $450,000. Lauren made a sound, not quite a word, just a strangled noise. Marcus leaned over, whispered something to her. She shook her head violently. Judge Thornton set down her pen. Mrs. Thompson, do you understand what you're hearing? Lauren looked up. Her face was blotchy. Destroyed. I don't have $450,000. That's not the court's concern, Judge Thornton said, not unkindly. The question is, did you sign this prenuptial agreement voluntarily, with legal representation present, after having the opportunity to review its contents? Yes, but I didn't think you'd need to abide by it. Silence. Judge Thornton looked at Marcus. Mr. Webb, do you have any evidence suggesting these provisions are unenforceable? We'd like time to research. That's a no. Mr. Harper, what are your client's custody demands? Primary physical custody of both minor children, with Mrs. Thompson receiving supervised visitation until such time as she can demonstrate stable housing and employment. Given the evidence of her bringing her affair partner into the family home while the children were present, Richard pulled up a still from the security footage, time-stamped. We believe this is in the best interest of the children. I would never hurt my kids. Lauren's voice broke. James, tell them I love our kids. I looked at her, really looked at her, and I felt nothing, no anger, no satisfaction. Just the cold certainty that this had to happen. You brought Derek into our home, I said quietly. Tyler's drawing was on the hallway table. Mia's shoes were by the door. They could have come home early. They could have walked in. You prioritized your affair over their safety. That's not fair. You told your friends you were only staying in the marriage because divorce was inconvenient. You said you could cheat in front of me and I'd apologize. You laughed in therapy when asked if you felt guilty about destroying our family. My voice stayed level, calm. None of that is speculation. It's all documented. Your words, your choices. Lauren turned to Marcus. Do something. He looked at the screen, at the prenup, at the evidence. Then he looked at his client, and I saw the moment he realized this case was unwinnable. Mrs. Thompson, he said quietly, I think we need to discuss settlement options. Judge Thornton closed her folder. I'm going to recommend both parties take a week to consider their positions. Mr. Harper, please send Mr. Webb your complete evidence file. Mr. Webb, please advise your client of her legal obligations under the prenuptial agreement. We'll reconvene next Wednesday. The mediation ended. Lauren tried to approach me in the hallway. Richard stepped between us. All communication goes through counsel, he said firmly. She looked past him, at me. James, please, we can still fix this. I'll do anything. Read page 7, I said for the second time. Read page 12, read page 18. Then have your lawyer explain what they mean, because I'm done explaining things to you. I walked away. Behind me, I heard her collapse, heard Marcus trying to console her, heard her sobbing. I felt nothing. Derek Patterson was fired from Gold's Elite Fitness on June 16th, the day after he was served. I know this because Patricia texted me. They escorted him out, boxing up his desk. Everyone watching. His face was red. He kept saying it wasn't fair. I texted back, it's completely fair. His firing made the local fitness community's gossip mill. Derek Patterson, formerly head trainer at Gold's Elite, terminated for ethics violations. The details were vague, privacy laws, but everyone knew. In that industry, everyone always knows. Patricia filed her petition the same day I did. Her lawyer was equally thorough. Adultery, fraud, misappropriation of marital funds. Derek had been spending their savings on Lauren, hotel rooms, jewelry. The Rolex that had cost $8,200 of my money had been purchased with $8,200 of Patricia's money, too. He'd stolen from both families. Patricia's filing also included a complaint to Derek's coaching certification board. Romantic relationships with clients violated their ethics code. The board investigated, found evidence, texts, photos, financial records, revoked his credentials on June 28th. Derek tried calling Lauren. I know because she told her lawyer, who told Richard, who told me. 47 calls over 2 weeks. She didn't answer. When he finally caught her at her parents' house, he'd driven there, desperate. She wouldn't see him. She told him through the door, "You ruined my life. Stay away from me." The affair, it turned out, had only been exciting when it was secret, when they both had something to lose. Now that they'd lost everything, there was nothing left to sustain them. No passion, no connection. Just two people who'd destroyed their families for something that evaporated the moment it cost them anything real. Derek tried contacting Patricia too. Emails, texts, voicemails. "I'm sorry, I made a mistake. We can work this out." Patricia's response, forwarded to me, was 3 words. "See you in court." 2 weeks later, Derek was seen working as a personal trainer at a budget gym across town. $20 per session, no benefits, no prestige, just trying to pay rent and lawyer fees. Patricia got the house, primary custody of Emma and Lucas, child support, spousal support for 3 years while she finished her nursing degree. Lauren called me on July 3rd. I let it go to voicemail. "James, Derek, and he won't return my calls. I think he was using me, for the attention, I don't know, but it's over. It was never real. You were real. We were real. Can we talk?" I deleted the voicemail. She'd said it herself in therapy, caught on recording. I needed to feel alive. She'd felt alive, and now she'd have the rest of her life to feel the consequences. Epilogue, 968 words. 3 months later, September. Tyler learned to ride his bike on a Saturday morning. Perfect autumn day, leaves just starting to turn. That golden light that makes everything look like a memory even while it's happening. We were in the park, near our house. Lauren had moved out permanently, staying with her parents, working a new job at a smaller pharmaceutical company, rebuilding her life somewhere I didn't have to see it. The custody arrangement was settled. I had primary physical custody. She had the kids every other weekend, and 1 weeknight for dinner, supervised at first. Now unsupervised but with strict rules. No overnight guests. No introducing them to new partners without court approval. No speaking negatively about either parent. She followed the rules. She had to. She couldn't afford not to. Tyler had been asking to learn to ride without training wheels for months. Lauren used to say I was too busy. "Your dad doesn't have time for that stuff, buddy. Ask him when he's less stressed." But I had time. I'd always had time. I'd just been too broken to believe it. "Okay," I said, holding the back of his bike seat. "Remember what we practiced. Pedal steady. Look ahead, not down. I've got you. Don't let go. I won't let go until you're ready." We started down the path. I ran alongside him, one hand on the seat, one on the handlebars. He was wobbly at first, overcorrecting, nervous. "You're doing great, Tyler. Keep pedaling. You're still holding on. I'm still holding on." We went farther. 20 feet, 50 feet. I felt him getting steadier, finding his balance. That moment where the body understands what the mind doesn't yet, that you won't fall if you just keep moving forward. Tyler, I'm going to let go soon, but you're not going to fall. You've got this. Don't let go. I won't. Not yet. But when I do, you're going to be amazing. 100 feet. He was steady now, confident. I loosened my grip. Dad, I've got you. And then I didn't. I let go, and Tyler kept riding. For 5 seconds, he didn't notice. Just kept pedaling, focused, determined. Then he realized, looked back, saw me standing 15 feet behind him. Dad! Dad, I'm doing it! Keep pedaling! He rode another 20 feet before he panicked and squeezed the brakes too hard, toppled sideways into the grass. But he was laughing. God, he was laughing. I ran to him, helped him up. He threw his arms around my neck. I did it! Did you see? I did it! I saw everything. I'm so proud of you. Can we do it again? We can do it as many times as you want. We spent 2 hours in that park. Tyler, riding, falling, getting up, riding farther each time, his laughter echoing across the empty soccer fields. On the way home, he said, Dad, is this what you and Mom used to do when you were happy? The question shouldn't have hurt, but it did, a little. Your mom and I had happy times, I said carefully. But we're different people now, and that's okay. You and Mia, you're still going to have happy times, with both of us, just separately. I like it better now, he said quietly, when it's just us. Is that bad? Nobody, that's not bad, that's honest. Mia's artwork covered our refrigerator now, where the wedding photo used to be on the mantel, where the family portraits used to hang in the hallway. Now there was Mia's art. She'd drawn a new picture in preschool, brought it home proudly, asking me to hang it up. It's our family, she announced. The drawing showed 3 stick figures, one tall with glasses labeled Data, one medium-sized labeled Tyler, one small labeled MIA. This is beautiful, baby girl. Thank you. Do you like it? I love it. She looked at the drawing, then at me. Mommy's not in it. I see that. Is that okay? God, she was 4 years old and already navigating impossible questions. Sweetheart, you can draw whatever you want. If you want to draw Mommy, you can. If you want to draw just the people who live here, that's okay too. There's no wrong answer. She thought about that. I like the people who live here. Me too. The drawing went on the fridge, front and center. Our happy home. I met Patricia for coffee the first Saturday of every month. It started as legal coordination, making sure our cases stayed aligned, sharing information about Derek and Lauren's attempts to minimize consequences. But it became something else. Friendship, understanding, the rare connection between 2 people who'd survived the same shipwreck. October's coffee was at the same shop where we'd first met. Full circle. How are you? She asked. Standard greeting. But with Patricia, it wasn't standard. She actually wanted to know. Better. Tyler's riding his bike. Mia's thriving. Work is good. I got promoted. James, that's wonderful. How about you? Emma made honor roll. Lucas joined soccer, and I started my nursing program, officially enrolled. That's amazing. I'm terrified, she admitted. I haven't been in school in 15 years. You're going to be incredible. We drank our coffee, watched the world go by through the window. 2 people who'd been broken and were slowly, carefully, putting themselves back together. Can I tell you something? Patricia said. Something I haven't told anyone. Of course, I don't miss him. Derek, I thought I would. I thought I'd grieve the marriage, even knowing what he did. But I don't. I just feel lighter. I know exactly what you mean. You don't miss her either. I miss who I thought she was, but I love who we're becoming. Me and the kids. We're better now. Smaller, but better. Patricia smiled. reached across the table and squeezed my hand. Found family. What? That's what my therapist calls it. Found family. The people who choose you, who stay, who show up. Blood doesn't make family. Loyalty does. I thought about Tyler's arms around my neck in the park. Mia's drawing on the refrigerator. Connor's text that morning asking if I wanted to play basketball. Patricia sitting across from me now, understanding without judgment. Found family, I repeated. I like that. Me too. If you found your own version of found family after betrayal, after someone broke your heart, and you had to rebuild from nothing, share your story below. Tell us who stayed, who showed up, who chose you when someone else walked away. We need to hear it. Because Patricia and I, we're proof that betrayal doesn't have to be the end of your story. Sometimes it's just the beginning of a better one. That night after Tyler and Mia were asleep, I took out my journal one last time. 197 entries. 7 months of documentation. The evidence that had given me back my life. I opened to a blank page. The first blank page in 7 months. And in blue ink, always blue, never black, I wrote my final entry. Day 302. Lauren called again today. I didn't answer. Derek left Patricia a voicemail apologizing. She deleted it. We're moving forward. Tyler learned to ride his bike. Mia drew a picture of our family, just the 3 of us. She said, I like the people who live here. So do I. I thought healing meant forgetting her, but it doesn't. It means remembering who I am without her. Lauren used to say, we don't leave. That's not who people like you are. She was right. I didn't leave. But not because I was weak, because I was building something. Evidence, a case, a future. Real men don't leave. They finish what they start, and then they heal. I closed the journal, placed it on the shelf in my office, next to Tyler's school photo from this year. His smile was genuine now, bright. He looked happy. So did I. The journal sat there, black leather slightly worn, pages warped from months of writing, a record of the worst period of my life. And the moment I became someone stronger. I'd been patient for 7 months, strategic, calculated. Some people thought I was cold. Connor had said I was like a robot. Lauren's lawyer had called my documentation obsessive. But I wasn't any of those things. I was just a man who loved his kids more than he hated his wife, who chose evidence over emotion, who understood that justice isn't about revenge. It's about consequences. Lauren had spent 3 years mocking me, calling me weak, telling her friends I'd never fight back. She'd been wrong about me, wrong about everything. I turned off the office light, walked upstairs, checked on Mia, asleep with her stuffed elephant, peaceful, checked on Tyler, sprawled across his bed, one arm dangling off the side, dreaming probably about riding his bike. I kissed both their foreheads. Then I went to my room. My room. Not our room, just mine. I got into bed. No one texting beside me. No one scrolling through messages to someone else. No one performing the empty rituals of a dead marriage. Just silence, space, peace. I fell asleep in under 5 minutes. And I slept better than I had in 3 years.